tick, tick, tick on the wall. Maybe you could have it all. Get down on your knees and pray. Maybe she will let you stay. Good enough if you play the game. Here comes the music, don't resist. Gotta keep on moving. Here comes the music, just give in. Gotta keep on moving.
God, I almost missed it. I had changed windows and tabbed back just in
playing
time.
a dangerous game over there. All right, well, let's get into this. What's up, gamers? And I don't know, I just panicked. I couldn't think of anything to open with.
No, just dump it. This is trash. Dump it. It's
All
garbage.
right, start over. Second intro.
What's up, gamers?
Yeah.
Fuck.
No, it's better when Patrick does it.
Okay, fine. Well,
Does being sick give me those smooth, creamy tones? Is my voice lower, or does it just sound raspy like I'm a smoker? I can't tell
both
what
of
my
those
voice
things
sounds like.
are true.
All right, cool.
I had a friend that, like, when she got sick, she sounded like she was, like, giving a tour of a museum, which we liked a lot. It's like, over here on the left, you'll see. Like, it's very, like, I think there's definitely some benefit to be gained when you have, like, that sick voice coming in. Because, like, it is painful, but, you know, you can work it. Like, you could be, for instance, like, a tour guide of, like, something.
It's only when you're sick. So you get a part-time job whenever you're sick. But getting Oprah, not contagious anymore. You go to a museum and you can be a tour guide with your smooth, sick voice.
I'm just saying, like, you got if it's smooth. Look, I'm so tired right now because I'm dying. This is my big reveal. I'm dying slowly.
Are you complaining about being tired? I have been. Our entire household has COVID. Do you have any idea how fucking? I've never in my life needed to experience the level of hell of being extremely sick while also having to take care of an extremely sick toddler and also trying to stay on top of work. It is a new level of fucking hell.
So
I've never in my life.
Have you been able to, like, work from home then?
Technically, yes, but the amount of work I've gotten done is minimal.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I'm sorry. So we are gonna carry Patrick. I'm putting out my arms like we're picking up a chair like it's a bar mitzvah, and he's gonna sit in it, and we'll carry him around.
I did, because I did technically listen to the book. However, my brain is rot right now.
Yes.
So I don't know how much that I actually absorbed.
I have to say nothing happened.
Yeah, this is going to be a content light episode. So
we should probably introduce who we are.
No, I want everyone to know the content first. Yeah. Well,
that's a good point. We're a content forward podcast.
Yeah, we're content forward.
Yeah.
What's up, gamers?
Well, there are
all the hot gamer tips this week to get the epic ownage on fucking, what are people playing? Splitgate 2? The fucking
don't
shittiest
fucking.
Yeah, no. This is for maybe one person generously listening. All right, let's introduce
I do
want
to. Yeah, and then off the top, throw in a content warning also that this is when the book starts the will they won't they saga of Reese and Feyre. So if you're like me and this drives you fucking insane and there's nothing you hate more in literally any media than a will they won't they romance plot, just don't listen to this episode.
I'd hazard a guess that, Joe, you're in the minority as far as the general audience of this book. You're probably the minority of this. So is this a content warning for the book or a content warning for the podcast listeners that Joe will be complaining about this?
Yeah, I think it's like a content warning that, like, we're going to be saying some disturbing things about some of the tropes you love.
Nope, this is just a contractually obligated, I have to have a hot take per episode.
Oh, okay, so this week you're attacking everyone who likes the will they won't they trope.
Yeah, get better taste.
Okay.
It's a tired plot, and we all know that they're going to get together in the end. So let's just fucking get to it.
All right, well,
we've all read books. We've all seen movies.
The voice that is initiating a challenge to you right now is Joe, and I'm Nirav, and the sick one is Patrick.
I dislike all of your tastes. Get better.
If you're a first-time listener, Joe picks one audience a week, one group of people every episode to attack.
Yeah, not a protected group. We've made sure of that. But
unless you consider Canadians to be a protected group,
it might be.
Every time I come for the Canadians, they cancel me. They censor me. They won't let me speak my real thoughts.
So yeah, this is a court of bros and broses. This is a podcast where three straight men are on their maiden voyage through Sarah J. Maas's A Court of Thorns and Roses, and maybe we learn a little something along the way. We have not learned anything this week, though. So
we learned about the summer
What?
court. We learned about the summer court this week.
No, but Nirav, you look so fucking exhausted saying that for some reason. Your eyes were closed. You were just like, I don't want to say this.
I've had I'm not going to detail it on the air here. I've had some intense medical issues this week, and it has left my body broken and scarred in ways that I don't think our audience wants to hear about. But I'm here anyway, and I've how did we talk about like epic ownage gaming and not talk about the Switch 2, which came out yesterday? Whatever, fucking hell.
Am I the only person? Also, another hot take. I'm full of them. Am I the only person that couldn't give less of a shit about the Nintendo Switch?
As specifically the Switch 2 or the Switch as a console
Either
in
of
general?
Then I would say yes, just based on the number of sales.
Okay.
I think you'd find a lot of PC gamers in the same boat as you.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Now PC
The Switch is overhyped.
That's good company to be in, you know.
Just get a Steam Deck. Just better.
Joe, let me introduce you to the guy who created Splitgate 2.
Oh my god.
He has a motto, and it's make shooters great again.
Yeah, I didn't like
No,
that.
is it make
It
shooters?
it said make FPS great again, and then he got on stage and trash talked like all games. He said every shooter game since Halo 3 has been garbage, and he made the first good one.
It's very funny to see. I'm sure Jeff Keighley at some
Holy
point
shit.
has had Call of Duty appear in his presentation, so it's very funny to see someone get on a Jeff Keighley stage and say, Call of Duty sucks.
Yeah, it was a lot, and he had a hat on that was like a MAGA hat, but for first-person shooters. Maybe the only group of people that's just like, I don't know. Anyway, PC gamers, let's get into it.
Wait, so Halo 3. So he's saying that since 2007,
Yes.
there has not been a good shooter.
Yes, and he said that
Basically,
I've made the
yeah.
first good one, and then do you know what he showed? He showed his game, which is a battle royale.
And it has $80 microtransactions in it.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I love this guy.
Holy shit.
Uh,
Did
it's
he
pretty
limit
funny.
it just... Sorry, I know this is not the
no,
topic
it's
of this
okay.
podcast.
Yeah,
but
good.
Did he limit this to first-person shooters or shooters in general?
His hat,
say
his
first-person
hat did
shooters.
say first-person shooters, so I'm gonna say that's what
Okay.
it is.
All right.
Although I don't think either claim is true. But
So don't worry, Joe. Fortnite was not included in that. Fortnite's still...
precious fucking Fortnite. Yeah. So anyway, that was an experience. But hey, Silk Song confirmed, right? All right, let's continue. All right. Well, we can't continue because we never fucking started. What chapter are we on? Oh my god, I could see Patrick just coughing his ass off. He's muted the microphone, luckily, but he's like literally like flailing around the room.
He looks like he's dabbing. Which is pretty funny.
He kind of moved into a little dab at the end there.
Good to know my mute button works.
That's good. That was very funny. Wait, is it muting the call or is it muting the physical microphone?
I muted the physical
Okay,
microphone
okay.
so that it's not on the
Yeah.
recording.
Okay. Great. Awesome. All right.
Because I did think about that because I was like, wait, if I mute the call, I'll have to mute both of them, and then realize that the microphone has a mute button, which makes it easier.
Okay. Great. Okay. So
Chapter
29 is where we start. So this is where we get to explore Valaris a little bit. They go out for dinner. The whole Court of Dreams crew. Amryn, very predictably, I think, starts drinking spiced blood out of a goblet.
Dude, it's pretty good. So they get some like great home cooking from some family restaurant,
Yeah.
and the woman's like, Amryn, I know what you want, and brings out a goblet.
The
and starts-
usual.
and it's a goblet of spiced blood. The fact that it's not just blood, Amryn's like, the spices really bring out the richness in this blood.
I'll take a cinnamon mocha with blood, please. It's actually interesting. Like, I bet she does different. Do you guys know about this thing called water talk?
No, what?
Okay, it's not what it sounds like. It is a group of people on TikTok that this is relevant. It's not really, but
No, I want to know what does it sound like to
What
you?
is this? Because you said it's not what it sounds like. I don't know what it sounds like.
okay, it sounds like they're
nothing to
talking
me.
about water, but it very much is not. It's basically a group of
Wait,
people.
what? Wait, hold on. I had that. I thought you meant it was a sexual. It sounded sexual, but it's not sexual. They talk about water. Is it back? Do I have that backwards?
None of this is sexual. Listen to me.
Wait, why? Then why are we talking about this? If it's not sexual, who gives a shit?
Okay, I have to get this out. It's very... Jesus Christ. Okay,
Continue. Water talk. What is water talking?
Well, it's a part of TikTok, which is a lot of people are doing this. And there's these influencers where they're like, today the water we're having is these like 16 different ingredients. Basically, they have like a thing of water, and they'll pour different like flavors and syrups and stuff into it, and they're like, this is an excellent water. And they call all of it just water, even though it's way more like sugar and flavoring than water by the end. And this is a very popular thing to do. And it's really bothersome because they're like, this is so healthy for us. And it's just like literally just drinking sugar. But they also just mix together a bunch of flavors. And they're like, it's got this nice blue sheen to it, so you know it's good for you. And it's driven me fucking crazy. I watched a video about this. Anyway. So that's what I imagine.
So when you say water talk, you mean water T-O-K.
Water T-O-K, yeah, sorry. I guess I should have said that.
I was imagining water T-A-L-K, like...
Water Talk is the podcast where they talk about water talk.
Which is not what this podcast is.
No, not this. Well, it was for a few minutes, and now that's over. So anyway, I was just saying that I
was looking up... Oh, sorry, go ahead, finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say that I think that's what Amren's doing, but go ahead.
Oh, I was Googling how would you spice blood to make it taste better?
Oh.
Why did you Google that?
Well, because Google's broken. It doesn't give you
fair.
good results anymore. So it just said, like, why do I taste blood in my mouth was all the results I got. And, like, hey, you should go to the doctor is basically what Google said.
Was there an AI? Sometimes the AI things are funny. Did the AI thing give you a good summary of what spice blood is?
What did AI said?
We're already, resorting to using AI for comedy.
Blood taste better. There's no universally better taste for blood as it's not intended for consumption.
Well,
that's what the AI said?
Yes.
Damn, how does it feel to be wrong, Google? Amren would disagree.
Amren would disagree.
So I was now thinking that, like, well, blood kind of has that metallic, like, its taste, which is kind of a salt. So you'd probably want something... You wouldn't want to add salt to blood.
Yeah, you would want maybe caramel? Look at that salted
I was thinking,
caramel.
that's not a spice,
Amren doesn't seem like... Yeah, that's not a... I was thinking, like a spice. Like, do we want cinnamon? Maybe ginger?
How many modifications does her Starbucks order have? That's what we're trying to figure out, basically.
I think Amren would drink blood black. Or I guess plain in this instance.
I'll take my coffee black. Okay, so... Amren is chilling out, drinking spice blood, and Farrah's like, oh man, I fucking knew it. And I was like, oh man, I fucking knew it. And so she asks Reese, I don't know where she got this idea. She's like, are you and Amren together? And I was like, why did you have this idea in your head?
I don't think she thought they were together. I thought she was just like, did you ever bone or something like that? Did you try? Did you
try?
No, she thought they were.
Yeah,
actively to
straight
right
up.
now.
Well, she said, like, is the reason you buy her all this jewelry because you're together? I don't know. I don't even care. And, like, he was like, what? No. But then later he does say, like, yeah, okay, we did try to bone once, or I tried to get in there.
Well, we is strong.
He's generous.
He hit on Amren, and Amren laughed him out of the room.
Yeah. Which, I mean, just not a good place to be. But I've been there, Reese. I got you.
And then... This is the part where this whole series of chapters, Feyre doesn't understand, like, Reese's obvious flirting. And it's not that she is, like, she genuinely does. No, she does not.
Okay.
There are parts later where she genuinely makes it clear she does not understand that Reese is flirting with her. She thinks that he keeps doing it to help her maintain sanity. And I don't know if it's her rationalizing it away, but she genuinely seems to, at parts, like, despite them both straight up saying we are jealous of each other later, like, it doesn't ever seem to fully click into her head that, like, we need to bone.
I mean, they've been flirting with each other for a while, but I think there's a lot of, like, denial, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, like, halfway of what Joe said, though, because I did get a little irked, especially in, like, I think the last chapter or whatever that we did, where, like, she's like, he keeps flirting with me, but, like, he can't really mean it. And, like, it's just, like, her, I don't know, it's a little infuriating, because it's like, okay, maybe if you, like, we're just gonna like be like, okay, he's flirting with me because he likes me, then maybe this would like, I don't know, move a little faster. But we don't want it to move faster, Joe. See, that's the problem.
I disagree.
We want it to be sustained for 17 more chapters. Will they? Won't they?
Where's the fun in the chase if they just get together on page 1? Huh?
There's no fun in this chase. There's no fun in this chase.
So Joe's ideal romantic movie is the movie starts and they profess their love for each other, and the rest of the movie is them having a happy marriage.
I actually agree with this.
Yeah.
I think no, that's not.
There's no conflict. That would be nothing. That's not even. That's
I
not a
disagree.
story.
Have you heard of a little thing called Marriage Story? Adam Driver punches the wall. It is not doing so well. But I was thinking of this because like I actually am. I never see this fucking shit. I thought this was so fascinating. There is an anime rom-com called Real Girl, where like in the first episode, this guy and this girl get together, and the entire rest of the show is a rom-com about them trying to manage their first relationships with each other. Like, and it's not like a will they, won't they. And I thought it was very funny. And I was like, oh, this is really neat.
There's another good anime called My Love Story, which is very cute, very sweet. And I have a toddler incoming towards me right now.
Sorry.
Hi, bud. It's called My Love Story, and it is just like they get. There's no will they, won't they. There's no love triangle. None of that kind of stuff. They get together pretty early in the actual season, and then the rest of it is just them having a happy relationship. It's very sweet. If you like zero conflict,
you can still have conflict and be in a relationship. I think I actually know many people.
I don't mean conflict as like
it's just the will they, won't they that I don't like. That's just that particular conflict irritates the fucking shit out of me.
I think there are more than one types of conflicts in rom-coms that irritate you, Joe. Because you also don't like love triangles.
That's also true.
Yeah,
I don't like tired rom-com tropes.
Now, Joe, you were talking to me earlier about love pentagons. Can you expand on that?
Yes. Well, no, that was love pentagrams. You misheard me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Whenever you're doing it ritualistically and you're trying to summon sort of an extraplanar deity, that's what I am back in.
Okay.
That's yeah.
I see. Okay. Well, we basically Reese is flirting with Feyre hardcore, and they do their fucking note passing thing again in a bit, and I'm like, come on, guys, just
this went from pretty good, like, arousing texts to Reese saying the least sexy thing I've ever said. We'll get to that. But
yeah, he sent Feyre a message that said like, "You up?"
Yeah, it went from like genuinely good to like, dude, that was like not a sexy thing to say, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
I meant to write down the actual messages.
Yeah, we should have done that. It was pretty fun. Okay, so they talk a little bit more, and he's talking about like, yeah, I've obviously had lovers, but I haven't really met anyone I like want to spend my life with, and also marrying a High Lord is like a dangerous thing to do. It's like serious fucking business. So they talk a little bit about like the history of like the Night Court and everything, and some, I don't know, there was like a whole bunch of stuff that happened here. I genuinely, like, I listened to this, I promise, like, feel like my mind kind of went blank, but anyway, it was so there was like, okay, there's a coup, blah blah blah.
Well, it was some pretty good backstory here,
Yeah.
I would say. Like, I liked this part of establishing at least the Night Court, and then this whole chapter is also where it, we'll get to the next part, but like, basically like the Night Court was actually the Court of Nightmares. Like, it truly was what everybody thinks it was, and then somewhere an ancient High Lord in Reese's lineage was like, yeah, this is pretty fucked up. We want to actually be a good court to rule. So they call it the Court of Dreamers because they actually dreamt of a better vision for the Night Court. So they established Valaris, and they kept it a secret from even people in the Court of Nightmares because they didn't want anybody that didn't share this vision to know about it. So they felt that it was safe. This is where they kind of established even a long-running history of you have to share this vision to know about Valaris, even within the Night Court. And then there was still, I guess, a divide somewhere. It kind of trail off into that. But they kind of established even further that any merchants trading with Valaris have they're either they're kind of enchanted to either not know about Volaris and forget about it, or I guess if they're more trusted, they may have this. They get this basically they get a magic spell buff where they're able to lie more persuasively about Volaris to protect it. So they even establish that outside of Volaris, the trade routes that are established are enhanced.
Yeah.
So it kind of adds the layer of quote unquote realism in a fantasy novel.
Building out the world, yeah. So they actually, I did appreciate that, and a little more of that comes later too. But like she's like they're exploring the town. I was trying to imagine like what this town. I don't know why in my head this town was like Venetian or like Italian in its style. But anyway, they're like.
I also kind of I was picturing like Roma or something, just
something
like this,
that,
open shops and wine and
right, yeah.
Oh, I was imagining like a French town with all the cafes and stuff on the corners and people walking along the water.
I guess they do that in
Paris is very much what I imagine.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Anyway, they're in some major European city, and So anyway, like, yeah, she's seeing the shops and sites and talking about, like, oh, wow, it's crazy. People are just, like, fucking living their lives, huh? It is interesting seeing this bubble of people living, like, roughly the way they do, like, I guess in our real world. And then, like, outside of it, like, fucking Game of Thrones is happening. But, yeah, I don't know. I thought that was cool. And then she starts hearing music and realizes that, like, that music was what, like... she was hearing under the mountain was like recent kind of like in her mind sending her music to like keep her calm, which is fun. So a little
and this that I thought was cool because obviously it furthers their relationship of Rhys being a better guy that genuinely cared about her, but it also was the first time in this book where I actually believed what we've been told of Sarah J. Maas actually had a plan in the first book for this second book, where I was like, there it is. That's like the one nugget where I think people aren't gaslighting me into thinking that this was written by the same person.
Possibly.
Which part specifically?
The music. That Rhys sent her the music.
That does make sense. And then
that was such a big part of the first book where she had visions of the Night Court, and like it was a very big moment of foreshadowing that it kind of happened in the first one. So I was like, okay, people aren't totally fucking bullshitting me. She may have had a plan.
Yeah. So, at the end of the night, I guess they go back and Feyre's like sitting on her bed, like kicking her legs in the air, texting Rhys. And yeah.
I do have the actual
one
I have in front of me.
You have the text.
It's a real book in front of me.
Wow.
I've never even seen one of these before. I thought these were just audiobooks, but Alexa showed me this. They're made of paper.
Yeah.
Have you seen this before?
Yeah, and wild. different configurations of I guess letters and symbols.
Yeah, so I grabbed Alexa's book real quick. So if we wanted to read the actual text,
hit me with some of those sweet nothings, please.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I think at some point earlier in the evening, Feyre calls Rhys a shameless flirt, and then he just got back to her right now via text and said, actually, you know what? He said, I might be a shameless flirt, but at least I don't have a horrible temper. You should come and tend to my wounds.
He says, you should come
from our squabble. Yeah, you should come. And then the text just cuts off. Tend to my wounds from our squabble in the snow. I'm bruised all over thanks to you. And they talk about licking a lot.
They do. I remember
they go straight into licking. Go lick your wounds and leave me be. I'd much rather you licked my wounds for me. Lick you where exactly?
Okay, here we are.
Yep, wherever you want to lick me, Feyre. I'd like to start with everywhere, but I can choose if necessary.
Oh, come on, you're better than that, Rhys.
And that was
I know.
That was Rhys sending that one.
Yeah.
No. Oh, you're right. You're right. Rhys sent that one, and then Feyre says, "Let's hope my licking is better than yours. I remember how horrible you were at it under the mountain." And then we get into, and then this goes back into explaining what we talked about in the last book, which was like how weird it was that he licked her tears away.
Yeah.
And then this kind of we already got that framing for it a little bit. Thanks to I think Alexa gave us a little bit of insight on that, but like we thought it was weird. It was weird, but it was like weird intentionally so that he was like licking her tears to snap her out of this whole panic episode she was having. And then she kind of explains that further now. Like Feyre kind of confirms that right now, basically being like him licking my tears was the only thing that helped, keep me grounded in that moment. So it kind of
Sidebar,
does get us.
not good behavior. Do not let a guy do
yeah.
that to you to try to snap you out of a panic attack.
Unless you
That's
are
really
unless
up.
you are under the mountain, like don't do that.
Yeah, unless you're in this weirdly specific situation, in which case, like, maybe we can talk about it later with a therapist, but, like, this is not admirable behavior.
I have a strong feeling.
Don't kink shame people, guys. Don't kink shame
I have
people.
a strong
in a
feeling.
consensual setting, you're allowed to do this. Nothing about this was consensual.
Right, that's true. I was just thinking, like, how strongly I feel that Tamlin does not believe in therapy. Like, he thinks the whole thing is like a scam.
No, we talked about this.
It's for woke beta cucks.
Okay, so
Sorry, finish
but
the,
then
finish the text.
then Reese sends back. I was under duress. I'd be more than happy to prove you wrong. I've been told I'm very, very good at licking. And then she said she clenched her knees together and wrote back, "Good night."
do you normally
and then a
clench your
heartbeat-
knees?
She's clenching her knees for a very specific reason.
All right.
It's for horny Nero.
Yep. And then Reese sent back, "Try not to moan too loudly when you dream about me tonight. I need my beauty rest."
That was a risky one.
And then she crinkles up the paper and throws it in the fire.
Okay.
And then Reese laughs from another room.
Right.
Yeah.
But so yeah, for me, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. This is pretty good texting. I'm into it. But when he says, "I've been told I'm pretty good at licking," I'm like, all right, dude, that's like,
Nah.
I know dirty talk is always subjective to the person receiving it, but I was like, that's a
I
feel
rookie
like you could have
mistake,
been more
dude.
creative. I was like, I don't know, maybe like, I've been told I'm pretty good with my tongue, or like something. Maybe you could have upped that a little more zhuzh to it than like, I've been told I'm good at licking. I was like,
Well, they were talking about licking already. Licking was already on the table.
yeah, but like, I know, but it just, I've been told I'm pretty good at licking is just not like a. If I don't know, I felt uninspired. I was like, there could have been more. You could have really like done more with this. I don't know.
Well,
Nirav just said "uh-oh" and is looking around his room.
I said
frantically.
because a bee flew in through my open door and then flew back out. So I guess the problem solved itself.
Close your open door. You don't have a screen door?
No, my cat's out there. She's hanging out.
Oh, okay.
Also, yeah, I mean,
Do you have a catio?
I have a little like thing I can put her in out on the porch, so I can close the door, but I like to just leave it open in case she wants to come in.
That's fair.
Anyway, okay, so Cassian and Feyre are training, and
Oh yeah, we finally get Cassian and Feyre like a training montage.
Yeah,
Not
this
really
was
a montage,
actually
they're
alright.
just training.
so she makes
This is a good chapter.
Yeah, she's like learning a little bit about the Illyrians, and like they're going through some fighting. I think so, just some basic shit, which is probably good for her to get, just some basic battle sense. Yeah, so Cassian does ask her, like, are you going to talk about the thing about, like, with Tamlin, you said that you're not going to go back to him. And
Well, before that, Feyre teases Cassian about his flirting with Moore,
yes.
and then when she says that, Asriel like clearly stops and like listens.
Oh yeah, he's like doing something over here, like. Yeah. So I think I don't know what's going on with those. There seems to be something there's too much fucking like I'm having trouble. I need like a web drawn for me of like
There's too much romance happening in this romance book.
who's into who. That's what I need.
Everyone's
No
into
one
more,
yet.
That's
and
true.
everyone's into Feyre. That just like, if you want to keep it simple, that's just basically it.
That's probably it. So yeah, Feyre starts to realize that she's like been so busy basically and like been doing and seeing so many things she hasn't even thought about Tamlin in a few days. And
Well, no, she wrote that note to him yesterday, which is weird. I didn't realize it had only been like a day since. Granted, we listened to these last chapters.
I thought
like
that was like 6 or 7
real
days ago.
real life weeks ago.
Okay.
So my concept of time is all fucked up. But yeah, no, it was like literally she wrote that letter the day before. They went out to dinner that night.
Yeah.
And then slept in the next day.
Oh,
they're
okay.
doing
I didn't
training.
realize that was all one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so,
this was, and yeah, this part is, I thought, was really good. It was just finally the moment it's been building to for chapters of her having
self-reflection.
the cathartic relief of finally like confronting all of the feelings where she's sparring with Cassian and she's punching the sparring pads, and she finally thinks about like all the things Tamlin was just horrible for, all the various reasons, about like everything she did for him, all of the sacrifices, literally dying for him, and just everything she gave up as a human.
I mean, she basically reframes the entire events of the first book from a more realistic standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, because in the first book, you're trapped in this whole, like, love fantasy, Beauty and the Beast romance thing. And everything that happens in the first book, you're like, oh my gosh, this is so romantic because of X, Y, and Z or whatever. And then stepping out of that fantasy and looking back on it, she's now reflecting on all this from, like, a more sane point of view. And she's like, wait a minute, no, Tamlin fucking sucks, basically. What we've been saying, like, she's confirming everything that we've been saying for a while, and, like, no, he didn't lift a finger to help.
Yeah.
And then even like the only time he finally snuck away to reach out to her after all those months under the mountain was just to fuck her. That's all he wanted to do. It wasn't to support her. It wasn't to help protect her. It was just to have sex with her that one time.
I
Like, he never
Yeah.
lifted a finger to ever try to help. He just sat there watching her. Like, he never risked anything. Yeah, and then the one time he risked anything was just sex.
Yeah, so that was not... I think this was a good moment for her, and it also was, like, a little bit liberating to be like, okay, well, at least the book is, like, seeing these same events the same way we were talking about them when they were happening. That's nice.
Yeah. Yep.
But, like, yeah, it is weird. I don't know if it's weird. I would just say, like, it's interesting to see, like, now, finally, like, her being like, okay, like, I understand he had his excuses for why he, like, didn't do anything under the mountain and stuff, but, like, man, like, what a fucking waste. Like, why, like, I don't know, it's just incredible, like, how much he just, like, sat by. So anyway,
and this part, genuinely, her realization of this, and, like, I think we've all had those moments, like, we've all just, it was a very, this book in general, I still can't believe it's the same author as the first book. And like, Sarah J. Maas does such a genuinely, I think, a good job of portraying just the very human feelings of
falling for a high lord and realizing they suck.
Yeah,
we've all been there. But, like, genuinely, of somebody processing a lot of very difficult emotions, and how it does take, like, the process, genuinely walking you through as a reader the process of it, that it is this slow burn of small realizations and needing time to process, until sometimes you finally have this moment here where it all finally hits you, where you do have these moments where you've been either trying not to think about it, or just for some reason something finally clicks into place and you have these big emotional breakthroughs and you process something in a very raw, real way, which for her then manifests in, her kind of burning through, or activating her burning powers and punching through the pads. But then she starts, just actively sobbing in front of everybody and not caring that she's doing it because she's having this emotional breakthrough. Yeah. And I thought it was a very well written chapter, very emotional. And I was feeling very sad for her. I was like, this is very well done.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have also been through I'm going to say a similar situation, not the same one, because I was not taken captive under a mountain.
But you were fucking some royalty, though.
Yes, and I'm not going to drop any names.
Nirav has quite literally been beasted before.
Interesting.
God, the jewelry he was wearing at the time, it was crazy. The drip you were walking in with all the time. Sorry, go ahead, not to detract from your...
No, just as somebody who has had spent some time in a very, very abusive relationship, like, I have had many of these moments of realization, thinking back and recontextualizing events and understanding how they actually happened over the years in therapy, which I recommend and Tamlin does not. So, yeah, anyway, I like that. But yeah, Ferris just punches through her sparring pads and sets them on fire. And I like this, that everyone's like pretty supportive of her and like, hey man, let it out, no worries.
Yeah, I would genuinely love that. Like, it's such a I feel like the characters here are like the macho, like, will beat the shit out of everybody, but they're also at the same time the most emotionally mature characters at the same time of then supporting her during
it's the
this.
opposite of that toxic masculinity.
Yeah, I was gonna say it really is like that. Like it's like a positive masculinity kind of thing, which I like it. We don't see that. I mean, like I feel like I'm seeing it slightly more now, but like in the last few years. But like it's something that's really absent in like most media. Really, it's like
100%. Yeah, it's just interesting because Cassian is completely is kind of like portrayed as a bit of a meathead, kind of like a meathead jock, sort of. But then as that, like, Feyre's coming out of that her whole trance where she's thinking about Tamlin and not even realizing she's lit her hands on fire, burned through her fighting leathers, and burned through the pad she was punching and was just punching Cassian's bare hands with her flaming fists.
Yeah.
Like, when she finally comes to and realizes that she's, like, punching bare flesh, Cassian has, like, a really soft, like, a soft, comforting expression on his face. And he's like, you can keep punching me. I can take it. Like, it's fine. Like, he's like reassuring, like, if you need to keep punching me to let this shit out, go for it. I can take it. And it's like, it's nice to see this duality to Cassian.
Yeah.
To Cassian.
I think it does, and it also does hit her finally, like the fairies that like she killed in the court while Amarantha had her there, like, and of course it's a difficult situation to parse because it's like, yeah. Of course, like, there's a reason she did that, and I think overall she probably made the right decision, but, like, she still has to, like, live with the fact that she, like, murdered some people. Like...
Yeah, and she finally has that emotional moment, of admitting to Cassian, like, and everybody, she's like, I killed them. She just says that out loud, and he just was like, I know.
Which, like, makes me think again, like, it's fucking insane she was sitting with Tamlin for 3 months, and they just never talked about the fact, like, that she killed 3 people for him.
2, technically.
Sorry.
3.
Fucking
I guess
hell.
if you count 3, if you count Claire better. More if you consider her family.
Anyway,
but she actively put the
she
knife
actively
into 2
well, and she like not only that, she like looked them in the eye and fucking killed them like a fucking serial killer would do, which is like not something most people can handle.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, Claire Better. It was, you could argue, was just an accident because she wasn't thinking that this
collateral damage.
Yeah, it was like collateral damage essentially. Not that she still feels guilty, but like from a moral standpoint, she consciously had to be like, I'm going to stab these innocent people.
Yeah,
and then this whole but even then I will say the narrator in the audiobook, I don't give a lot of credit to
Jennifer.
The way she delivered the line from Cassian of like when he says I know and then like I can handle it or whatever exactly he said with the punching, she genuinely delivered well from a soft spoken perspective. I was like, okay, you delivered this well in this moment.
Wow, it's only taken a book and a half, but Joe's come around.
I think she's done a lot better on this book than the first one.
Yeah,
narration wise, we got to get her on the show, Jennifer. We've said a lot of shitty things about you. Please come on the show. So yeah, she talks to Rhys a little bit, and she's of course talking to him about her survivor's guilt and everything. Like, oh, it should have been me. Very common thing to feel, and like, he's like, yeah, I mean that feeling's not gonna like go away or anything, but like I've learned to live with it. We've all here learned to live with it. We've all had to do some really bad shit to get where we are, and and then he talks about like his types of his nightmares where he or his friends have to go back under the mountain to be Amarantha's whore, and then he has a dream of Feyre dying over and over again, and how painful it is for him. And she's like, he must not like me. He must not be into me.
Yeah, but then during this, while she's crying, he kind of comes over, uses his wings to kind of like shield her in general, and is like leaning over her and gets kind of this like giving her privacy moment as she's kind of giving her a chance to process all of this. He shares some more about his that he had to bury his mom and his sister. So there was some we're getting more tidbits into his backstory of that.
I don't even think we knew he had a sister, did we?
We did not.
I think he mentions it.
Yeah, I guess not.
In the last chapter, he mentions like this was my sister's favorite view of the city. At some point, they're like looking over the river, and she's like, "Oh," he's like, "This is my sister's favorite view." And Perry's kind of like, "What?" And then he mentions it again, having to bury his sister. But I don't think we've ever known he had a sister prior to these chapters.
Yeah, I think that's true because like I think it makes sense. I don't know. I think it makes sense though that he's had to like lose some close family members in this power struggle. So Feyre, they talk about her firepower, and that we learned that the fire is from the Autumn Court. Who's
Lucian's dad.
Yes, yeah, good point. Lucian's dad is the High Lord of the Autumn Court / Fire Nation. And so they spent some days training, and the Summer Court.
Now we get an actual training montage.
Yeah,
it's a 4 days of training.
Yeah,
we do get some more context on like darkness, and Rhys does do like a display of showing darkness powers and kind of contextualizing that darkness is more of a it's whatever the wielder wants it to be. It's not. He's kind of contextualizing to Feyre that it's not a bad thing. It can be a variety of uses.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Similar to, I would say, like the firebending guru scene in Avatar, where he's like, "Oh, fire is not destruction; it's life."
Yes, actually, that is exactly what I thought of.
Whew, what a relief! I thought we were gonna go one episode without mentioning Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Dude, they keep fucking bending elements. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah. She water bends later. I was like, dude, we can't.
Yeah, she does.
She literally does do water bending later.
So they get a note from the Summer Court where the first half of the book is that they need, and that they need to heist, and they have been approved for a visit. So I remember like Feyre and Rhys and Amryn are gonna go, and like Cassian's like, I want to go, and Rhys is like, no, and he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. No, they say that like Cassian's been banned from the Summer Court. He's not allowed to go back.
He partied too hard.
He did party too hard.
We don't know what happened specifically, but
yeah.
Also, I feel Cassian
and it sounds like they're bringing Amryn. I was saying, it sounds like they're bringing Amryn with them because Amryn has like a threatening energy to her, basically. Like if they try and keep them there or whatever, like they have Amryn as their backup plan, basically.
Yeah, like a little tiny bomb.
I do want to throw in now for the listeners, I take back what I said at the beginning about nothing happening in this chapter. I had listened to the first 2 chapters like a couple days ago, and I forgot how good they were. So I rescind my previous
there's a lot of
comments.
Yeah, fair enough. So they head to the Summer Court, and they meet Tarquin, Grand
Moff Tarquin.
Okay, so you were thinking Grand Moff Tarquin. I was thinking Tarquin Duck, like Darkwing Duck.
I like Tarquin Duck.
Yeah,
I was thinking of Grand Moff Tarquin. Did you say Grand Moff Tarquin?
I think I did. Interesting.
You did say Grand Moff Tarquin.
Sorry, I got Mothra on the brain.
Always, I always have
the
Mothra
Grand
on
Moff.
the brain.
So yeah, we meet Tarquin, who is like another just hot guy, but this time he's nice.
Wow.
Whoa. He's they mention him having like darker skin and like eyes of crushing turquoise blue.
Have we actually met a single male fairy who's not described as being fucking hot?
I hate to say it, but I think the first ugly High Lord we're going to interact with will be an obvious villain.
I think you're right.
Is this...
No, hold on, because Rhys was technically a villain in the first book, and he was hot.
But he was always apparently
But he was always a hero. Yeah, you're missing out.
True.
Okay, so...
Very true.
One thing that I do want to ask also while we're here is... Because I think she made a point of saying, like, the people from here are, like, in the Summer Court are, like, darker skinned. Are these, like, the first not white people that we're meeting?
I don't know. Because, I mean... It doesn't Rhys have darker skin now that he's just tanned now?
No, I think he's just like a tan guy. Yeah, like I think I took this to mean this was like more like I don't know, like I was getting like an air of like Tunisia or Morocco here, something like that. But like I don't know. I was just curious because it kind of made me realize that like I was like, has everyone been white up until now? Huh?
We haven't really gone to any other courts, really.
Yeah. That's true. It's really just been like the Spring Court, and Tamlin only has white people at his court. Um,
100%.
Well, because that's the way it's always been done. You can't
It's
change
just always
how it's
been that
always
way,
been done. You know, just change is scary. You can't do change.
I don't know, but it just it just made me think like, is there like, I don't know. But anyway, we'll
wait. Can we? If we're gonna cast this, is this guy gonna be Pedro Pascal?
Ooh, he's too old.
No,
though.
he's not
Isn't
brown
this guy
skinned
very-
enough. He's not brown skinned enough.
Yeah, I was thinking like,
Did you say he's not? Did you say Pedro Pascal's not brown skinned enough?
he's not brown enough.
I would not say he's. I would not describe Pedro Pascal as having rich brown skin, which is how he's described in this book.
And that's true.
Like, I think he gives
Yeah.
Pedro Pascal energy, but we can't have Pedro Pascal doing like blackface.
Especially because he's supposed to be.
Well, no.
We're not going to make him darker. That was never part of the equation. We're not going to put black.
That's what Patrick's trying to make me do.
No, I'm not. I'm
Patrick,
saying Pedro Pascal has
every
darker
day you're
skin.
texting me like, "Is this the time we can get Pedro Pascal to do blackface?" I'm like, no, Patrick, we can't do
We
that.
can't do it. Okay, I was
His
thinking
agents keep
'Cause,
telling
I mean,
me.
he's
I mean,
supposed to
the
be-
reason
he says
I'm-
no.
he's supposed to be
The
younger.
reason Pedro Pascal seems like a good fit, and basically, I naturally think of Dorne from
Yeah,
Yes.
I was thinking of that too.
Game of Thrones, and the Dornish Isles, and you think of like those people.
Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal obviously was that role. So
Okay,
That's what I was also thinking. Was that gave the same vibes as what kind of Mir
Yeah.
was saying too, with like the
Yeah, it does for sure. Like I was thinking, like if we need somebody and like somebody young, but also like younger, but like also pretty hot. I was thinking Dev Patel. That would be good. He might be a little too hot. Damn it.
Dev Patel might be a little too hot
For this role.
Dev Patel's pretty good
Right?
looking. What about the actor who plays Rom from RRR? Is he too old?
How old is this guy? Because I thought he was supposed to be like 30 or no, not he's. I know he's 80,
I mean,
but like
he's
how
80,
old
but-
is he? In
Well,
human
okay, but
years?
everyone stops aging, right? Like that's the thing. Like everyone, all High Lords, because Tamlin looks like he's in his 30s too. Apparently.
Oh yeah, you're right. he
Everyone
does,
looks like they're in
yeah.
their 30s. So like age is nothing.
Okay. Well, what about Kumail Nanjiani, but he's jacked from Eternals? Nobody.
The
saw
actor
that.
who plays the actor. Well, I've seen Eternals. I actually like Eternals.
Okay.
The actor who plays Rom from RRR is only
He's-
40 years old.
Okay.
He'd be perfect.
no.
Oh, the
What if we
actor's
do-
actually name. His name is Ram Charan.
Yeah.
No, what
Sorry.
if we do Aaron Pierre from recent fame for the upcoming Lanterns show, but we just give him like blue contacts?
Oh wait, I've seen that guy. Okay, dude, that guy's pretty good looking. Damn it.
Yeah, that guy's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Who? What's his name?
We'll do some casting.
Aaron Pierre.
Yeah, he's playing Green
um,
Lantern.
Jon Stewart
Yeah.
in the new Lanterns show.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, just give
I like
him
this.
like crushing turquoise blue contacts.
Ah, yeah. Love that shit.
That's pretty good.
Okay, so we also meet Cressida. Who's playing her? It doesn't matter who we cast because inevitably they're going to get Zoe Saldana. There's nothing we can do about it.
Oh, dude, yeah, Crusader. Or no, we got to save Zoe Saldana for like
A good
a
character.
better role, like
Yeah.
one we wouldn't keep around, because like Crusader just exists to flirt and be kind of shitty. I don't want to do that to Zoe Saldana.
That's true. Anyway, so yeah,
What about the actress who plays? Did anyone watch Wednesday? No, not Wednesday. Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
like the old one?
No, the new one. The new
Chilling
Sabrina.
Adventures one? I've not seen
Yeah.
that one, no.
Yeah, the actress who plays opposite of who kind of like the mean girl, basically. Prudence Knight.
You know who I love? Natalie Emmanuel. She's very, very good. She was in Game of Thrones as like Daenerys's like assistant lady. Fuck, what was her name? Oh my god, her like second in command.
Tati Gabrielle.
Tiny Gabrielle. So that's familiar too.
Tati Gabrielle.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Yeah, we
We're
meet
getting
Cressida.
into the weeds about
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
about fan casting.
No, people love this.
That actually, I think that's true. I think people really like their fan castings. Let me think.
Also,
what
I
other ones.
have to know in my head what they look like, and I think we've done a great job. And this is for us.
Look up Tati Gabrielle. She also plays like her role in Sabrina. Also is kind of she's a mean girl basically,
How do you spell that?
which kind of meets the Tati Gabrielle.
Alright.
I think she has the right vibe for
I can see
Cressida.
that.
Okay. Yeah. So we meet. Yeah. So Cressida. Sorry, she's the princess.
Yes.
And
I don't fully understand. So is she like the younger sister of Tarquin?
I thought she was his younger sister, but I'm not sure if they said.
I don't think so. I think Fair even said like their relationship was unclear.
Okay.
Huh.
I don't know.
So maybe she's like maybe she's another cousin.
Maybe,
because we know that Tarquin is the cousin of the previous High Lord, Summer High Lord, who died.
Maybe that's the relationship. Because they're
So
clearly
they're all
not together.
they're different cousins. No.
Yeah, no. I thought they were. I got the impression they were family because I felt like they were acting like brother and sister more. But anyway, regardless, yeah, Cressida's the princess here, and we meet also Varian, who I don't think does a lot. Younger brother.
He's just more of a guard. He's just kind of the watchdog guard.
Yeah,
but he is still like technically in the family line. Like he's not just a guard. Yeah. He's like related to everyone still.
Yeah. So they sit down and talk about like the king of Hybern. He's coming in. There's a war. Tarquin is pretty receptive, thankfully, to like all of this, and is like, yeah, that sounds right. I'm in. Or like I believe you rather.
But he says I will help you fight the king of Hybern, but I will not go to war on your behalf for other reasons. Basically looking at Feyre.
Yeah.
And the implication there is that they worry that war between the Spring Court and the Night Court will happen.
Yeah.
Because the rumor is that the Night Court has quote stolen Tamlin's bride away.
Yeah, they've kidnapped
and then Feyre even reiterates, I left on my own accord. And they're like, regardless of what you say you did, you are still his like bride to be, so you're his like quote property or whatever. And Amryn bristles at that, and Pharaoh's like,
oh yeah,
I'm no one's property.
I remember this fucking shit because like she's like, that's the law, sorry, we're all property. And I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
yeah,
I know this is like a thing, it's not new to like medieval dramas or whatever, but it's like, yeah, like especially when like other women are like, yeah, actually you're property, you should know your place. It's like, come on guys, like. Anyway, I'm glad Feyre like says something at least, but like,
yeah. And then Rhys goes even a step further. He's like, cool. He's like, I understand that, but if anybody sends any word to Tamlin that like about this, that I'm here right now with Feyre, all your lives are forfeit. Like I will fucking murder everybody here.
Well, specifically, what leads to that is I think is it Cressida or someone that says like, oh, the Spring Court is our neighbor and by the rights of the law or whatever, if they find out you're here and demand Feyre back, we will give Feyre to the Spring Court. And Rhys is like, haha, if you try that, I'll fucking kill you.
Yeah.
And then what's the Tarquin says, like kind of like the air in the room kind of gets stiff at that point, like it's a high tension. And Tarquin says, I don't like being threatened in my own court. And Feyre then kind of breaks the tension by saying, like, she jokes, like, this feels so nice to have everyone fighting over me. Or I forgot what she says, but she breaks the tension.
Oh, but no, Rhys drops the classic line. He's like, oh, I don't like being threatened. Rhys is like, it's not a threat.
Yeah.
Just classic,
it's a
classic
promise,
hard line, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nah, dude.
That was pretty good. So, yeah, so that Rhys and Feyre talk that night, and he's like, I need you to, like, try and steal this book without being caught. Because, like, I like Tarquin. I think the Summer Court is, like, generally good. And, like, I think they would be good allies to have in the coming war without, like, having, this beef between us. So do, like, anything you have to do to get this book. And then she's like, well, what if I slept with Tarquin to get it? How would you feel about that? And he's like, all right, what? I was like, come on, guys. You don't have to be like this. But, yeah. So...
It's also worth noting that Feyre and Tarquin were having kind of being very kind of flirty a little bit before this. But like,
I think
he's very friendly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they kind of summarize it nicely though later on because they say like, oh, it would be easy to fall in love with you, but it would be even easier to be your friend. Which I think was good. Like, because I think again that one thing that like. We talked about earlier is that like Feyre has been largely deprived of friendships like her entire life, and like having somebody like more around or even like someone like that has been really good for her. But then on top of that, like I think she definitely hasn't had any like really like male friends around, and so like I think that like having people, I don't know, it's just one of those things.
Lucian's kind of
yeah, I would say Lucian, but like yeah, so I don't know. I think it's just better because like it's good to have like, I don't know, for her to have this relationship with this guy where maybe they are actual friends and like maybe could be like open with each other, would be really cool.
Which is funny because she's about to steal from him.
She is, and she definitely is like fucking racked by guilt about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, she decides to, she like finds out that like so sorry. So the Summer Court also has like this is the water tribe, right? So they have water bending powers here, and so she realizes.
Which I was confused. We thought water bending was associated
winter,
with the Winter Court. So is the Winter Court ice? Are they separating water and ice? In which case, this goes back to the question that you raised a couple episodes ago, where you're like, water and ice are the same thing, and I was like, no, they're not. This is proof. Water and ice are different.
I don't think that's proof. We have to see. The Winter Court could be wind for all we know, man. It gets windy in the winter. I don't know.
I thought the wind was. I don't know. Whatever.
So yeah, she realizes her powers are stronger when she's near Tarquin, and like they're easier to access.
Or like, I don't. Is it necessarily near him, or just like in this court and feeling the energy of the court?
Oh, maybe it was that.
Because later on,
she does talk about like
she's practicing her powers later in the bath.
Tarquin specifically as being the reason.
But like later on, she does
powers
like
came from.
Yeah, I think later on she does mention like something about the ocean and like feeling it nearby and like feeling its power or something. But like, so she does talk to Rhys about like, hey, like the thing we talked about yesterday, would Tamlin actually like start a war for me? And he's like, I don't know, which I think is a good answer because I also don't know. And so then Ferris is like, I'll go back to him if it would stop it. And he's like, well, would you want to go back? And she's like, no, obviously not. But like, I would if it would stop a war, just because I've seen too many people die. Like, I would basically live a life of like slavery, essentially trapped in that house, if it meant like stopping all these people from dying in a war over it, which is pretty sad. But
yeah,
and
then kind of Rhys
like,
points out,
no, don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. And also, like, he kind of points out too, like, hey, the reason that he kept you a prisoner was because he knew how much you're worth as not as a person, but as like as a tool and as a treasure, basically. Like, he kept you locked up as his own personal treasure, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got the vibe too of like wanting to keep her for himself. It was also like she would leave him or other. He knew how valuable she was, and he did not want anybody else to see her value because he would lose her. It was all like that possessive nature is how I kind of took that.
I think Rhys's reading of it is like maybe a little like a tad reductive, because I think that through all of this, obviously as awful as Tamlin is, like, I think he genuinely believes that he loves her. You know what I mean?
Well, Ferris says that too. Ferris like he loves me, and in his own way, he loves me.
Yeah, I mean he's doing it in a horrible, toxic way that nobody should be subjected to, but like he still does, I think, very much believe that. So like, but yeah, Tamlin, and sometimes love could be a poison, she says. So like,
yeah. Well, I think Rhys says that.
Yeah.
Love can be a poison.
Yeah, because Tamlin's definitely acting out of like I think it's generally his nature is that controlling nature. But it does seem to be a partially trauma-ish relatedness to what happened under the mountain. But he also, even in the first book, was always controlling. But yeah, it's like this controlling nature of like, I'm anxious that something would happen to you, therefore I have to control everything you do to avoid you doing something that I don't like, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which is not good and doesn't justify anything, but that seems to be kind of what he's doing.
Yeah. We learn a little bit of history about the Summer Court, which is that Tarquin's cousin, Nostradamus.
Nostradamus.
Was the High Lord before the whole thing with Amarantha, but he fought back against Amarantha, and so they were killed. And Tarquin became the High Lord. Just to clarify, I believe he says that, he was like 30 years old when this happened, so he was basically a child as far as fairies go. And then he was taken under the mountain as the High Lord of the Summer Court after, like, Amarantha killed the actual, like, High Lord of the Summer Court, and he spent those 50 years under the mountain, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then after the previous High Lord rebelled, not only did she kill the High Lord and all of his family, except apparently the cousins, like I guess maybe direct relatives or whatever. But Amarantha and all her forces basically raided all the Summer Court cities, which is why now all the Summer Court cities are like in heavy reconstruction because Amarantha basically like ruined the whole Summer Court.
Yeah. That is something you're right. We learn about too. Is like, this is a good example of like a juxtaposition for like Valeris, because like we learn about like the cities here. Like there's like 4 major cities that make up the Summer Court, and like Amarantha fucking like trashed all of them. I imagine her like Godzilla, just like walking through and like knocking buildings over.
That's exactly what happened. Amarantha's coolest power is the ability to grow large.
She gets real big and steps on stuff, which I mean, some people are into that, but yeah. So we learned about
that is a fetish.
Yeah, we all learned about it a lot with that big vampire lady from Resident Evil. Tarquin is like asking about like, hey, what's the mortal world like? And she's like, yeah, there's like a lot of I found this interesting actually, because like Feyre says like, yeah, you're either like rich or you're poor, and there's not like classes beyond that, which is also like it's interesting because like the way she's talking about the mortal world is actually very similar to America, whereas like,
I mean, that's probably very intentional.
Oh yeah.
I mean, not even just America. That's also just like how things have been for a long time, where it's just there's like a very much the wealthy and the non-wealthy.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I was talking about the juxtaposition of like Europe, for example. Like there is still like the remnants of like the class system there. Like there are like there are noble poor people in England. You know, there are people with titles of nobility that don't have any money that are part of the upper class, which is not something that can happen over here. So like, I don't know, that was just what came into my mind while she was talking about this, was like it made like the fairy world sounds like Europe, which I guess again supports my theory that Valeris is Rome.
I mean, but then we find out again later though, as she's talking to Grandma Tarquin further, that like even though she sees the lines as being more blurred, this might be jumping ahead a little bit, but even though she sees the lines as being more blurred in the fairy realm, he says, well, maybe the lines between the wealthy are a little more blurred in your mind, but like the fairy realm has its own class system, and basically high fae and lesser fae, and they're even named as such, where the lesser fae get lesser rights, worse treatment, and he sees a world where that is not the case, where the lesser fae have a voice. And Feyre actually, like, apparently she's the first person to ever entertain that. We find out later.
Yeah, that's whack.
That like everyone else laughs him out of the room when he does it. Like Cressida thinks it's stupid. And Feyre's actually like, yeah, no, I like that. It's a good idea. We should have more equality between classes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just is uncommon for wealthy people to want to like tear down the class structure, but I think this guy is different. Probably my guess is because he spent so little time in it before he got dragged under the mountain and had to stay there like on equal footing with everybody else, in the way that he was a slave to Amarantha for 50 years. I think it colored him very differently than the people who were alive for like 500 years before that happened, right? So
yeah, I was talking about this with somebody recently, but it's like sometimes you just can kind of get born on better moral footing for a variety of reasons, just with a higher empathy. I can just kind of escape social class systems due to that, or just and then you get a situation like an Under the Mountain, and then being thrust into this situation with less time, only 30 years, which for a high fae is crazy, low or crazy young. So a combination of those things all together can lead to somebody that wants to create this social change. I do think also, to be obviously, you can't dive into this in this kind of book because you can only pick one class system to attack at a time, really, in a book. But I do think the class system in every country is much more complicated than wealth versus non-wealth, because that always exists. But then you also have within those classes, like classes based on sex or race
Yes,
that exists
that's
within a
100%
social
true.
construct. That you can ascend a wealth class sometimes, but you can't ascend other classes based on situations of birth. Until those systems are torn down.
One of my economics classes in grad school, we actually did this whole thing where we read through this case study someone had written about the city of Miami, where like it is this like defiance of a lot of things that people consider to be like how our social class system is like structured here, because like the wealthiest people and the poorest people in Miami are all Latino. They're usually from the same places, either Mexico or Cuba or Puerto Rico. And even within those like race groups, though, there are like their own like higher, middle, and lower social classes that are like completely divided, living in totally different parts of the city, different environments. Like they go to different stores and everything. But like they're within their race groups, they're also divided by class, and like vice versa, which is like, I remember this study being like so interesting to read. It was very eye opening for me, I think. But anyway, this is a side note. All right, so we so Feyre says she spots that Rhys is flirting with Cressida, and she's like flares up with this insane jealousy very quickly. I thought that was a lot, but she's like, oh my god, obviously she's gonna fuck him. They're gonna fuck any second now. And I was like, they're just flirting. Like, chill out, maybe. But
well, the conversation they had. By the way, your camera's frozen. By the way, Nira. I don't know if.
Yeah, we can still hear you though, but
we can hear you. It's fine. I just want to make sure. Yeah. But to be fair, the conversation they had the previous night was basically like, she joked with Rhys about, fucking Tarquin. What's his actual name? See, now I can't get Tarquin out of my head. Tarquin. She joked about fucking Tarquin to find the book, basically. And Rhys is kind of like, yeah, if you need to do that, whatever. Like, kind of, I don't know. I don't remember what the tone of that was. So I took this to read. Uh-oh, Nirva's gone. He's back. I took this to mean, I don't know. Is he back? I don't know. Should we keep going? Is his audio going to keep going?
Let's talk shit about him. Maybe this will get on the official backup. Nerve's a doo-doo head.
Fucking dude, that's heavy, man.
Fucking got his ass.
Yeah. I don't know what to do right now. We can
let's talk about which character we think, because this probably won't make the final cut.
Which character do we think who do we think Nerev's going to play?
Yeah, who do we think Nerev is in the Akatar world so far?
Who is Nerev in the Akatar world? I don't know.
Or maybe we should actually save this for a on-air discussion for all of us.
Hello?
It feels like people would like this.
Am I in here?
Maybe. You're in here. What's up?
Okay. Yeah, I think my Discord freaked out. I did just having to restart it, but it seems like it's okay now. Are you guys still...
Your recording still going?
Yep. I didn't touch it.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'll just cut it out.
We're all still going.
All right. What were you guys talking about?
I think we need to get to the end of book 2 before we have that discussion.
About
that discussion being casting ourselves as people, which I don't want to do that.
What do you mean
like
casting?
Who would we be in?
Who would we be in? The
Oh yeah, we should. Yeah, we should definitely get to the end of the book before doing that. Also, I don't want to be any of these people. All right.
You don't want to be Tamlin?
Oh, strong Tamlin vibes.
Strong, yeah.
Huge Tamlin vibes from Nero.
No, I can't be Tamlin. Tamlin. We know Tamlin doesn't let non-white people into his court. I can't be Tamlin.
That's a good point. You cannot be Tamlin.
No, well, you could be like the token. What? Although we are talking about, I'm just saying, we now in America has shown that fascism is now kind of a multicultural.
It's its own race,
ethnicity thing.
Yeah.
So like Tamlin probably has that too. Just if you are ultra nationalist, you can be a part of Tamlin's cult.
That's fair.
In court.
That's like anyway, so where did we get to before I died?
We were talking about Cressida, basically.
Yes.
How
okay, so
Feyre has a bunch of jealousy over Rhys and Cressida.
Yeah. So flirting. I was like,
the way I took this though is that the previous night, Feyre says like, "Oh, can I fuck Tarquin to basically find the book?" And Rhys says, "Kind of need whatever it takes." So then when they see the two of them flirting, I think the vibe I got is that Feyre was like, "Oh no, Rhys is gonna fuck Cressida to get information," basically, and she got jealous at the. She got the you hear this
Yes.
toddler giggling in the background. And then she got jealous over the idea of that happening.
Yes, but at the same time, I also think it was a big assumption to jump to like, oh, he's gonna have sex with her to get information, not just he's flirting with her to get information. Because I think there's a difference between those two things. But anyway, that's all.
Well, I mean, but everyone knows that flirting leads to sex.
I guess you're right. Except for they fucking Feyre and Rhys have been doing it for the last week, and they have not done that. So I don't know.
But they.
Oh, Yatito loves these back and forth games between these people.
Yeah.
But
See, whereas Joe hates will they won't they, Yatito loves will they won't they. He thinks it's so funny.
It's
See, that
because
just further proves my point that only toddlers like will they won't they relationships.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Only
so,
underdeveloped brains
Jesus.
Great.
would enjoy that.
But
But this part mainly just serves to show that she's finally admitting that like maybe I have feelings for this guy, because I think also she's kind of coming off of I just ended a very serious abusive relationship. So kind of like admitting that you have feelings for somebody or moving on is a very difficult thing to do. So that's I think also a large reason why she's not necessarily willing to move forward or admit that something is going on with Rhys, is just that aspect of like, I just got out of something that's emotionally taken a huge toll on me. I don't even want to entertain that.
Well, it's Rhys also talks about, was it in a chapter we already discussed but didn't talk about this, or is it in the future chapter where Feyre asks Rhys about like how many women he's had before, basically?
I think that
What
came up
chapter was that
already.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did we talk about? I can't remember if we
I don't
talked
think
about
we
that or
did.
not. But yeah, so Feyre asks Rhys about any kind of like women he's had before, and he gets kind of melancholy at the idea of like how he's kind of. Oh no, later on he gets melancholy about something, but like basically he mentions that he's never married, or obviously he doesn't have kids, or he's never had any kind of permanent girlfriend, really, even permanent partner, because he's fucked a lot of people, but for one reason or another, no one ever wants to make things permanent with him.
No, I think it was people are interested, but he doesn't want anybody to have a target on their back because of who he is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So not only has Rhys mentioned that he doesn't want anyone to get too close to him because it'll put a target on their back because of who he is. Feyre also is in a place where like she just got out of this shitty relationship with Tamlin, and she's not really emotionally recovered from that. So I know you hate this will they won't they, but I think I'm imagining it from the context, like contextualizing it with who these two people are, with Feyre coming out of a shitty relationship and Rhys not wanting to get involved with people because it puts a target on their back. And if Rhys really cares about Feyre, obviously he's apprehensive about making things serious with her, and Feyre obviously is feeling things for Rhys, but she's feeling weird about getting into another relationship. So that's kind of why I think this will they won't they is being dragged on so much, because both of them kind of seem, whether they'll admit it or not, reluctant to make anything actually more concrete between the two.
Talk to each other.
And there's a difference between do I think it's done poorly and do I just generally not like it. Like, I think it's done well. I just also am usually not into this situation. So I don't want to make it come across like I don't think it's done well in this book, and that there aren't reasons for it. Like, granted, this makes way more sense than like a Ross and Rachel on Friends situation, where that's just contrived sitcom nonsense. This actually has plot relevance and like character motivations.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite part of a romance novel, but it also makes sense. And
and so Rhys, the next day they see each other, and he's like, "We were on a break," and Feyre's not happy about that. So
is that a Friends reference?
It is.
Okay.
Jesus. Okay.
I've never actually fully seen.
That's
Friends.
fine.
I've
That's
seen some
fine.
episodes of
Yeah,
Friends.
no, that's fine. I was just thinking about like I said Jesus because I was thinking about like maybe our next group of people we should attack is all people who have seen Friends.
That's way too big. So we're gonna very quickly alienate every single potential listener of this podcast.
Do I need to throw in my hot take on Friends?
No, don't do that.
I don't think you do.
Save it for another episode.
Save it for next episode.
You can probably just assume whatever. Yeah. I don't think it was bad.
I did
just
finally
think
learn.
I just don't like sitcoms anymore.
That's
They're
okay.
just
All right, there we go. There it is.
I don't know a lot about Friends, but I did learn that the title card for Friends shows up and there's a period between every letter.
Uh-huh.
I didn't realize that Friends was an acronym for all of their names in the show, which is interesting.
It's not. Because the letter F, I was what? Phoebe starts with an F?
Phoebe for F.
Okay.
R for Ross.
Okay.
I for, what's another name?
You know what? This isn't
Monica.
funny. Monica.
With I at the beginning.
I for Monica.
Yeah.
There's an I in the word Monica.
I guess that's true. Okay, so you
got me there.
Yeah, fuck. You're being a real Joey right now, and you need to stop.
E for Joey. See, it still works.
Okay, so we blah blah blah. Okay, so Feyre talks to Tarquin, and she entices him to, hey, why don't you show me your big collection of all your valuables so that I can steal them? And he's like, okay.
The way she plays us off pretty smoothly.
She
does.
Like,
my dad was a
merchant, like
a
the king
merchant.
of
So
merchants.
my whole life. Yeah, my whole life. Which, did she make that up?
I don't know. She said that he was called the Prince of Merchants, and I'm like, is that an anime? Like,
no, I think he genuinely, like,
he was a big deal, wealthy, for sure. Yeah.
Until he fucking gambled it all, and on that one ship, and
I hate that dude.
Literally everything on one ship, which is so stupid.
Okay.
So you hate that dude being her dad?
Yes. Yeah, I'm talking.
Yeah,
about
he
that.
sucks. He does suck.
Okay, so regardless, we get also one thing I will say, they did note, maybe it's a little bit later, but Tarquin does seem to know that she has some sort of ulterior agenda, but he also kind of has an ulterior agenda, and he's okay with it, you know?
I don't think we find that out until she goes into his mind later.
Well, so in this entire time too, he is staring at her, particularly her boobs.
Particularly
her boobs. And
throw me a freaking bone over here.
Hey, Peter, particularly her boobs.
Okay, I was doing Dr. Evil.
My father was a drinker.
Fucking, he'd make ridiculous claims like he invented the question. Fucking hell. All right, whatever. Let's
but it's unclear throughout this, and it's when they first meet, Feyre feels a connection to his essence, in his chest, because of obviously him resurrecting her and being a part of the ritual. So he is staring at her, and she has this kind of low cut, slightly revealing, but just it shows her chest a little bit. And so she is unsure if he is seeing this same thing or if he's just looking at her. It's kind of this ambiguous thing of, does he feel this same connection? He kind of makes some comments veiled of hey, what is it like to be a fae? And she's like, I don't know, you tell me, I'm just a human. So it's kind of this cat and mouse game of, he probably knows that she is, everybody seems to know that she has powers, but he's not openly saying it yet.
Right.
So that's also this whole thread the entire time they're talking is this game.
I think that he might be trying to look at her chest because he's trying to read the words on her graphic t-shirt she's wearing.
I thought Tamlin was the only one who
Oh yeah, I forgot about his fucking FBI shirt.
Hey, you get it? It's funny.
Peter, do you get it?
Hey, Peter. Also, fuck that guy. Such a fucking piece of shit.
Oh, Patrick Warburton? Yeah.
He did a show on the Daily Wire Plus.
Wait, what? Patrick Warburton sucks now? No.
He sucked for a while.
He did a show on the Daily Wire Plus, their streaming service.
He's like a right winger Trump guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, don't ruin Patrick Warburton.
I didn't ruin it. He ruined himself.
I didn't even know he was bad. I love him.
Peter.
He's great.
All right.
Hello and welcome to Soaring Over
Peter,
California.
We're gonna make America great again.
My name is Patrick, and I'll be your flight attendant for today.
Are you thinking? Was that from fucking Soarin', California?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Hello. Oh man, I'm bummed.
And that's not even a hot take. You can't disagree with me, because if you disagree with me, you support the Daily Wire, and in that case, you're a bigot. You can go.
Patrick Warburton's gonna be the next guy. He's gonna be added to Splitgate 2 any day now. Fucking okay. What were we talking about? Tarquin. He's he's walking her through the jewelry and all this shit, kind of showing her the treasures and everything. And he says like, oh, I don't really put much stock in like the ownership of treasures, but like these are family heirlooms, and like the people before me used to like care a lot about it, so like I just try to like keep everything here safe.
Well, before we kind of skipped over past the morning because when Feyre sees Rhys and Cressida she goes back to get some air on the ship, and she's like, 'cause she's like kind of overwhelmed in the conversation they're having. She gets some air on the ship and comes back, and Rhys and Cressida are gone. So she assumes that Cressida and Rhys went home together. And then she kind of is stewing on that all night. Yeah. Being like salty about the idea that, oh, Rhys probably slept with him. Like getting mad about that. Getting jealous about that. So the next morning she like avoids Rhys basically the whole morning and like doesn't make eye contact with him and is ignoring him basically. And then is dressed super nice and notes that he doesn't even comment on how nice she looked because she was excited about how nice she looked and he doesn't comment on it. So then when she leaves with Tarquin, that's kind of like leaves on that note with Rhys. Right. Worth noting now since that does come up later.
Yeah. So yeah, they do their tour. Tarquin Duck tells her about like, his history, which we talked about a little bit earlier, and like and he asks like, okay, so what really happened, like what went down with like the night court, like did Tamlin actually fucking lock you up in his house? And she's like, yup. And he's like, did the night court actually rescue you? And she's like, yup. So he's like, all right, he says, unless I'm asked directly, like point blank, if you were here, I will not tell the spring court that you were here. Which I think is probably like, I think that's fair. So then she does get to look around the summer court treasures and does not see the book or sense it anywhere.
But also throughout this,
she does get a neat necklace.
Oh, she does get the necklace.
She gets the necklace, and this is where Tarquin kind of adds more context to what we remember from book one, where he also says like also we can be an ally to the north. Is like I also like look. You have sway over Rhys. I would love it if you're the emissary to, between us and the Night Court. And also, he kind of is like, yeah, look, I like Rhys. I get people tell me differently, but I like him. I had my cousin Brudius who was planning that escape from under the mountain, and he was caught.
It wasn't just an escape. He was apparently the Summer Court was rallying troops to try and storm under the mountain, and Brudius was like going back and forth between under the mountain and the troops to like talk to the troops and plan the assault. And then Tarquin mentions that when Rhys went into his mind, undoubtedly Rhys saw that and not only chose not to divulge that information, but chose to kill him instead of wipe his brain, which is a mercy.
Making him he called him a walking ghost or a living ghost, I think is what he described it as, in terms of like, because it's basically a lobotomy is what he would have done, but like way worse than a lobotomy somehow.
At 2 Brudius.
And then he's like, look, I even realized Rhys may have had ulterior motives to this because he always does, but I'm starting to trust Rhys. I feel like it was a mercy in itself that he did it.
I think he also gets into like, he's like, I do trust Rhys and I want to be his friend. I want to be his ally, and I feel like I can he's like, I feel like I can talk to you, and like you're part of his court. Like I want us to have a relationship because I want to have a good relationship with the Night Court as well. So I do like how frank this guy is, considering how like Cloak and Dagger all these people are about fucking nothing all the time. So like,
and he also mentions that he like not only does he trust, or at least wants to trust Rhys and have a relationship with Rhys, he also mentions that he's like grateful to Feyre and he acknowledges what Feyre's sacrifice was to keep them there, and also that he acknowledges what I mentioned earlier, that like Feyre is the only person who took him seriously, and when he said he wants to have equality between Feyre, which is part of the why he gave her the necklace. So he's being very transparent about like how he wants to have a good relationship with both of them. Really.
So she finds Rhys lounging on her bed, and she says exactly what I'm thinking, which is like, hey, Tarquin seems like a good guy, just ask him for the book. She then gets mad at
that. Rhys does make a good point of like, hey, well, I was talking to Caseta, and she said, he is power hungry and looking to elevate his status. So maybe you should be reading between the lines with everything he says. Just kind of a reminder, like, hey, you have to be careful in these positions.
Yeah, that's true. Although I get the feeling he has some second motive, but I also don't think he's like a liar about anything. Is my feeling currently.
Yeah.
But like
he mentions to Feyre too, like I think he asks her something directly, and she was like taken aback by the direct question. I think it was about Tamlin, and he apologizes. He's like, "Hey, I'm still kind of learning the ways of the court."
Yeah.
And Feyre's kind of like, maybe don't learn the ways of the court. Like maybe it's nice that you're not like a seasoned politician, basically.
Right. I mean, he's had very little experience, frankly. Probably like less than a year, I guess, of actual court experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, then she's like, "Oh, I can't believe you fucked Cressida, to get information on the voice." Like, I didn't even kiss her. What are you talking about? I just flirted with her. And she's like, "Ah, I see." So she did let it get under her skin, and Rhys is like kind of annoyed that like she smiled at Tarquin one time, which I was like kind of trying to remember what was going on here.
Well, okay, so when she smiles at Tarquin, she says she makes a note of the smile when it happens. It's when he picks her up before the tour. She says she gives him a very like I can't remember the exact wording, like a very honest smile that she says she hasn't given in years, she said. Or something like that, like some long amount of time, like where it was kind of like an innocent smile, basically. And she gives him this very innocent smile. And we find out in this chapter, it's this whole like what you said before, just communicate thing.
Yeah.
Before Rhys mentions the smile, Feyre was mad at Rhys for no reason, and then because she was mad at Rhys for no reason and avoiding him, Rhys like showed up to breakfast, but she slept in, so he didn't. Cause hoping to see her, but she slept in, so he didn't see her. And the next day, he wouldn't, and then later that morning, Feyre wouldn't make eye contact with him before the tour, and he was like trying to get her attention and trying to look at her and acknowledge her, and she was ignoring him. So that was frustrating for him alone. And then he sees her smile at him, and he said he was jealous of the smile because it was like an innocent smile, and he doesn't feel like he can be that way. Or what did he say specifically?
Oh, so what he was especially jealous of was that he heard her tell Tarquin that, that he'd be easy to love and even easier to be, or he'd be easy to love. And he wasn't even necessarily mad that she said that to him, but that he knows he's not that kind of person for anyone. It was just
That's what it was. Yeah, he's not easy to love. Right. That's what it was.
Which, I mean, like, I don't know, communicate with each other, man. Okay.
Well, I feel like that's also just like a very real thing of like, there's somebody you're into, or like just even a friend says something to somebody and just accidentally strikes a nerve because, everybody knows what your own personal insecurities are. And I think it's just an interesting characterization for Rhys too, just to continue to show that like he's sad with the decisions he's had to make of becoming this kind of not conniving because that implies a more malicious intent to it, but this very guarded, very secretive, deliberate person instead of just being the honest person he wants to be. Yeah. Because also in these chapters, I feel like they've mentioned it before, but Feyre increasingly keeps making note of the masks he is wearing. It's just, I think I remember hearing that phrase more, just to kind of drive home that point of the amount of work he's constantly having to do to keep everybody at a certain arm's length for the protection of his realm.
Yeah. So they're hanging out at the summer court for a few days. They have not found the book, and then during like a low tide, Feyre sees this like building like ruins out in the ocean, and she mentions the building at dinner, and Cressida and Tarquin kind of react like apprehensively to the point that she's like.
When I thought it was interesting when she mentions the building, she doesn't mention it as being like noteworthy in that like, oh, it stands out like an interesting building. She says it feels like home for some reason.
Okay.
Which I thought was kind of like the summer court side of her being drawn to that building.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was that she senses the book potentially too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's what it
but
is.
like that it made her. She was drawn to the building and like the home feeling, which is probably the summer court side of her being drawn to that. So she hypothesized the book might be there, and then when she asked about it and they get extremely cagey, she's like, "Yep."
Yeah, so they get a little cagey. So they say, "Hey, it's just a temple ruin. Oh, we better fix it up. Better get a contractor out there." Ha ha ha. And
Well, because she said she wants to go on a tour.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, I want to go on a tour and see the mainland. Can we like walk by that on the way to the tour? Can we walk by that? It looks interesting." And he's like, "Nah, we should take a different
we
route.
shouldn't
That
even-
route is."
that route
That-
sucks.
that'll-
That
that'll
route,
piece
that
of
route
shit?
is
Nah.
sucks. It sucks. Yeah, and so
There's like gross stuff there. You don't. There's like mud. You don't want to see it.
Yeah, so Feyre, very surprised to my surprise, decides to just bound into Tarquin's mind and try
I was
to.
like, hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I
Damn,
was
how do you
I'm very
shit?
shocked she went straight for this, but yeah, the way that she describes it, she does this sort of thing where she like uses the summer court part of her that is like the water washing against his like mind shield to like kind of trick his mind shield into opening, like because it thinks it's him, I guess, like fucking.
Which I mean, the same. Which is how she was able to get past Reese's shield.
Yeah, that's true. That was
like the shield
that was
mistook
brought up
her
before.
for him. So she does the same thing here. She like disguises herself as him to just walk through the shield, and then she specifically notes that she left a path to lead out as well, so she won't get trapped in there.
Yeah, and she kind of like assuages his worries about like why is she asking about the temple? Who cares?
Yeah, she's like, oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause
she
like-
kind of just whispers, like, oh, Feyre can be trusted. Like, don't worry about it. She's just asking for this reason or this reason, and it was interesting.
Well, first
to see it.
she hears his thoughts about what we talked about kind of earlier on, where he was kind of like, why do they want to come here in the first place? Why have they wanted to see the treasures? What are they doing here? What are their motivations? Like all these doubts he's had circulating in his head for the last few days, like why they wanted to come here, why she's so curious to see the treasures, why. And then she like kind of massages those doubts away, and she's like, don't worry about it, it's fine. They're cool.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. I like that she was able to do that and use her previous knowledge and training to execute a cool move.
And then she notes that when he's like, you know what? Yeah, let's go check it out. Both Cressida and Viserys?
Varen?
Varys, I think
Varys.
Varys.
Varys?
Yeah,
Varys.
Viserys
Varys.
Targaryen.
Varys.
Viserys Targaryen.
V.
Yeah, the two of them both, like, when he says, let's do that, the two of them are like, yeah, okay. And she kind of notes, she's like, did Rhys fuck with their heads at the same time I was doing this guy's head?
Yeah,
which is great.
Yeah, I think that was cool. It's kind of double maneuver. So Rhys and Amryn come to her room, and then Rhys is like really impressed that she did what she did, because it's like, hey, that sometimes takes years to like get that trick down. So nice work. And so
which kind of illustrates how bold it was for her to just
I really thought that was like really bold for her
like
to do that.
super high stakes, just
Yeah.
for her to be like, you know what, let's try this out.
So yeah, then they're like, all right, time for a heist, and then it's like dun 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 dun, and then we stopped there. So I believe the next thing is that they are going to heist the book out of this underwater temple, which sounds cool as fuck. So
It does sound cool. I hope it is very heist.
I hope it is
where
heistful,
like
yeah.
they cut a circle in the ceiling, a glass circle in the ceiling, and they lower Feyre into the vault.
Yeah, so I guess predictions here. First of all, let's address the spring court elephant in the room. We still haven't met Tamlin or Lucian or anybody.
I'm done
for the
predicting
spring
that he's
court.
going to show up, because I predicted he's going to show up for like 6 episodes in a row.
My
and he
new
never shows up.
prediction is that we don't see Tamlin again ever. That's my
We
new
know he
prediction.
will. We don't have to like. We know he will. We can stop talking about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other.
I guess here's one prediction. Do we think it'll actually be a war with the Spring Court or not?
No, I don't think that'll come to fruition. I don't think the I don't know. I don't think that the rest of the Spring Court is going to be like as excited about going to war over Feyre as Tamlin is.
I mean, but we know that subjects are not necessarily don't have a lot of say.
It's not that they
in what
have a
the
lot of
master
say.
wants.
I just am curious if like people would actually like follow Tamlin into battle over that. Is all. Like, I don't know.
I think a war would happen. I think a war will happen because again, I'm still on the Ianthe is doing all of this shit.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's the thing. Like, I think if Ianthe's pulling the strings, which I think she is, I think she would probably massage the idea of a war because it'll help distract from Hybern.
Yeah, that's possible.
If she can get the High Lords to fight each other, that is beneficial.
I guess the main thing, I would say, like, if it seems like the rumor that is going around is like that the Night Court like kidnapped Feyre and she is their hostage right now. Like, and if that's the thing everyone's been hearing around the Spring Court too, they would definitely be more motivated to like mobilize if Tamlin tells them to.
I think on a different prediction note, because I think we've established our thoughts on Ianthe and the Spring Court. I think on this particular new allies train, I think things are going to go wrong with the heist and they're going to be discovered, and I think they're going to have to come clean to Tarquin and the Summer Court on why they are there.
That's a good prediction.
Or Rhys probably won't want to, but I think that Feyre will
like trust Tarquin enough to do that, I guess.
Will reveal their true intentions behind the visit and try to get a real ally out of him.
I think Feyre does a cool waterbending move where she like goes out and like she's gonna like ride a wave.
Sick.
I think it's gonna be cool.
She'll steal the book and she'll surf out of there.
Yeah. She'll like, fucking surf out of there. She's gonna hang 10 on the way out.
I think something's going to go. I mean, I think it'd be boring if nothing went wrong and if the heist went off without I don't know what that. Honestly, I can't think of what that would be though, because I feel like her just coming up front with him, knowing that we think he might have like, we're not 100% confident in how like trustworthy this guy is yet. I don't know if she'll come clean with him, especially after she was in his head and she knows he has all these doubts. Like, what would I mean? I don't know. Maybe they will.
Yeah. Also, I, again, didn't get anything out of her, but Lindsay was telling me yesterday that, like, you guys are dancing around something. You guys are, like, so close to, like, nailing this big, big prediction, but you haven't gotten it yet. Like, you're just dancing around it every episode, and I'm so mad. So I'm curious what that is. We're not quite there.
Mysterious.
What if what if Ianthe's the king of Hybern? Boom.
Whoa.
Boom.
Whoa.
Crazy.
There it is.
Drop the mic.
All right. I think that's probably true. Okay, so I guess we'll wrap up here. I've been thinking the whole time like Tarquin Duck, and I think I might do a little song for us. I don't know. Still thinking about it.
I don't get the reference. I know it's Darkwing Duck, but I've never seen.
I watched a lot of Darkwing Duck when I was a kid. He had a friend.
Darkwing Duck is pretty sick.
It's pretty good. His name is Launchpad. Flew the plane around. All right, let's.
Launchpad was also in Darkwing.
Yeah, it was actually a connected. That was a fucking cinematic universe, dude. DuckTales.
I mean, there
and
still
Darkwing
is.
Duck.
You honestly, have you watched the new DuckTales?
No, I know it's great though. I've heard a lot of great stuff.
Darkwing comes back in it.
Oh shit! There it is.
It's sick.
All right. All right. So let's close out. So thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back. And I guess, do you have anything else to say? I'm just going to say to keep on trucking from me. Like,
I was thinking the same thing,
personally.
yeah. Similar wavelength. Keep on trucking.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Keep on trucking and support parachutes.
Yes.
And your local bookstores.
Support your local bands, such as Parachutes. You can find them linked below in the show notes. Scroll down. All right.
Here I've just pointed down as if this is a video we're posting on YouTube.
Whatever. All right. See you guys.
Smash that like button.
Yeah, subscribe and join.
Like, subscribe.
Tick, 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 tick on the wall. Maybe you could have it all. Get down on your knees and pray. Maybe she will let you stay. Good enough if you play the game.